We're going to get started. Ken Merten is not yet here, but we're sure he's on his way. But we don't want to wait any longer. My name is Michael Matera. I'm the director of the Americas program here. It's a pleasure to have you all here, those in the audience and those watching on the web stream. This is a program that a couple of months ago, Mark Schneider suggested. Mark is a senior advisor here at CSIS. The Americas program has been blessed over these last 6 months to have Mark working really closely with us. He comes up with wonderful ideas for panels and is probably the person who knows the region better than anyone else in Washington, I would say. But it's great to have him working with us. But I am required to make one security announcement. I am the emergency officer. If there is an emergency, follow me. Without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Mark, who's going to run the panel. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Michael, for that introduction, a little bit over the top. I'm delighted to moderate this panel on the implications of the departure of MINUSTAH from Haiti. We have a distinguished panel to discuss both the past achievements and controversies surrounding the United Nations Stabilization Mission in Haiti and the challenges and opportunities going forward. In 30 days, on 15 October, MINUSTAH and its military component, which at one point numbered near 10,000 blue-helmeted troops, will have come down to 0. Its blue-helmeted police will drop from more than 4,000 down to 1,275, with formed police units dropping from 11 to 7, and they'll be deployed in only 5 of the country's 10 island departments. MINUSTAH, I think, has been critical in helping Haiti develop a civilian Haitian National Police, now numbering more than 15,000, with growing professional capacity. However, the HNP and Haiti's justice sector unquestionably need further technical assistance and further oversight. Haitian law enforcement will be tested, in fact, these days it's being tested, to perform both efficiently and with full respect for human rights in the face of the country's still unresolved economic, political, and social polarization. I've ridden in the armored personnel carriers manned by Brazilian MINUSTAH troops at a time when Cité Soleil was dominated by criminal gangs, and can truly attest to the courage and dedication of the men and women who have comprised MINUSTAH troops, soldiers, and civilians, most of them coming from Latin America. And it would not be fitting, I see Ken arriving, and I'll invite him in. I think it would not be fitting to start this panel on MINUSTAH without recognizing the tragic deaths of MINUSTAH staff in the 2010 earthquake and MINUSTAH's positive role in helping Haiti respond and recover from that disaster and prepare for the hurricanes and seismic events that constitute permanent threats. I actually asked for this map to show while we discussed Haiti, because what it does is it shows that Haiti continues to have a series of threats from earthquakes, from landslides, from floods, and the vulnerability is laid out on this map that has been put together mostly by the UN. On October 16, next month, the UN Peacekeeping Mission for Justice Support in Haiti, MINUSTAH, begins. Its initial Chapter 7 mandate extends to 15 April 2018, although it has actually 2-year mandate, but through 15 April with a deceivingly limited focus, and I'm quoting, to assist the government of Haiti to strengthen rule of law institutions in Haiti, further support and develop the HNP, and engage in human rights monitoring, reporting, and analysis. I say deceivingly because each one of those tasks involves very complicated engagements with the government, business, political, and communal forces of Haiti. And there are other absolutely critical challenges in that mandate. including, and I quote, to protect civilians under imminent threat of physical violence, unquote, and to assure zero tolerance on cases of sexual exploitation and abuse that also constitute daunting challenges for the UN itself. Beyond MINUSTAH, the UN country team and the rest of the international community still have the unresolved test to help Haiti respond to national challenges of poverty reduction and economic development, and to reduce unacceptably high infant, child, and maternal mortality rates, exacerbated by the unfortunate introduction into Haiti of cholera by Nepalese peacekeeping forces. Perhaps the greatest obstacle to economic and social progress is addressing a dysfunctional educational system, where the most recent Minister of Education noted just this last month, 400,000 children are unable to start school this month because of lack of space or inability to pay. 80% of the teachers do not have proper training, and 2/3 of the students failed their baccalaureate exams this past July. And there's a final question hanging over the future of Haiti: security and development, over the ability of MINUSTAH to fulfill its mandate, and over the country's ability to find the resources to improve justice, political, and economic conditions. And that's the report that the new government of Jovenel Moïse intends to reestablish a Haitian military, whose initial cost goes far beyond the dollars involved, which some 5 years ago was estimated at somewhere between $50 and $80 million, to the political costs that are potential given Haiti's history. And that's very worrisome. And with those opening comments and questions, I want to introduce Sandra Honoré, the United Nations Special Representative of the Secretary General for Haiti, Acting Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Western Hemisphere Affairs, Ambassador Kenneth Merten, formerly Ambassador to Haiti, and Chilean Ambassador to Washington, Juan Gabriel Valdés, former UN SRSG in Haiti and former Foreign Minister. First, Ambassador Honoré, who's been SRSG in Haiti since July 2013, and has brought to this assignment the wealth of her experience as a career diplomat of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. As you can see from her full biography, which is on the list, besides serving as ambassador, chief of protocol, directing the Prime Minister's Division of International Affairs, Ambassador Honoré has been engaged in Haiti for decades, starting as special assistant to the chief of the OAS Electoral Observation Mission from 1995 to 1996, when I first met her, and later as chief of staff to the Assistant Secretary General of the OAS and Director of the Permanent Council and General Assembly Secretariats. Madam Honoré.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike Matera, Director of the Americas Program, and thank you, Mark Schneider, for your very kind introduction and your very kind words with respect to the United Nations Mission for Stabilization in Haiti. I want also to thank the Center for Strategic and International Studies for organizing this very relevant discussion on stabilization in Haiti beyond the mandate of MINUSTAH, which, as you have pointed out, is scheduled to close on October the 15th, 1 month from today. It is an honor for me to participate alongside this distinguished panel, people who are well abreast of developments in Haiti and who have contributed to shaping those developments in their respective roles: Ambassador Ken Merten and former United Nations Secretary General, Special Representative to Haiti and head of MINUSTAH, the first Secretary General's Special Representative and head of MINUSTAH in Haiti. Over the past 4 years, as the 6th Special Representative of the Secretary General, I've had the opportunity to be part of a process that has been, at the same time, rewarding and challenging. I am therefore pleased to share with you today some of the achievements of the work of the mission and some of the lessons learned over the past 13 years, especially with respect to the foundation of support that the mission has helped to create for lasting stability and progress in Haiti. All of this provided that institutional strengthening is kept on track. As you know, when the UN was first called to support Haiti in 2004, the country was in a profound state of instability, characterized by political and economic turmoil, as well as rampant violence perpetrated by armed groups said to have varying linkages to the country's political spectrum. With the presence of 18 United Nations agencies, funds, and programs already operating in the country, the Security Council decided that a multi-dimensional integrated mission with a stabilization mandate was the most suitable model of peacekeeping to address the situation. So Resolution 1542 of the Council established the mission, the 7th United Nations mission in Haiti, tasked with creating a secure and stable environment to support the government in ensuring that conditions on the ground allowed the necessary time and space for Haitian leaders to extend state authority and firmly establish democracy and the rule of law. So the mission's efforts focused on strengthening state authority at the central and local levels, primarily through, as I said, establishing a secure and safe environment, promoting constitutional and political processes that allow for democratic consolidation. This included, of course, electoral assistance. Also, supporting the development of a professional Haitian national police, which can fully ensure the safety and security of the Haitian people, and restoring and maintaining the rule of law, including through the promotion and protection of human rights. So what has been achieved since the mission's establishment, and what lessons learned can be drawn from the experience, in particular for the work of the new peacekeeping mission, the Mission for Justice Support in Haiti, MINUSTAH, which will begin its work on October 16th this year. Amidst the vast needs and the challenges facing Haiti and the many setbacks which Haiti has had over the past 13 years, I believe that concrete and visible headway has been made. However, the results in respect of the multitude of tasks mandated to the mission have been mixed, and we can later discuss why this is so. The degree of security and stability that the Haitian people enjoy today is in part due to the mission's support. Threats to law and order and violence were significantly reduced, while state authority was restored and the Haitian National Police grew in strength and professionalism. When the mission first arrived in 2004, state authority was virtually limited to the capital, Port-au-Prince, and the 3 branches of power were largely dysfunctional. Today, the executive and the legislative branches have been restored to full functioning. The Superior Council of the Judiciary, created for the first time in 2012, remains in need of a number of long-term fixes to rectify multiple limitations. Support for elections has contributed to 3 peaceful presidential elections, including from one democratically elected president to another from the opposition in 2011. At the decentralized level, all directly elected officials are in place for the first time since 2006. The indirect elections started recently, have been stalled, but they must be continued to complete the local governance structure. With respect to the Haitian National Police, there have been notable improvements with respect to the size and the administrative and operational capacity and professionalization of the HNP, thanks to the commitment of the government of Haiti to strengthening this institution with determined support from its international partners, including the government of the United States. Having recently initiated implementing its 3rd 5-year strategic development plan, the HNP has increased the police-to-population ratio from 0.6 officers per 1,000 inhabitants in 2004 to 1.3 as of September, with an overall strength of 14,000 officers, of which 9.5% are women. The HNP now demonstrates increased capacity in the planning and execution of complex operations, including the securing of the elections and crowd control, while simultaneously performing routine tasks in combating crime and more effectively maintaining public order. Further development of the national police, including in the areas of internal management and oversight and geographic coverage of the entire national territory, will be necessary to be undertaken between 2017 and 2021, the next 5-year strategic development plan, to ensure the sustainability of the HNP in keeping with that plan, which sets as 16,000 the new quantitative minimal target for its membership. This, of course, has to be carefully balanced with the ongoing plans by the government of Haiti to establish a second public force, as Mark has mentioned, the remobilization of the armed forces of Haiti. I would say that restoring and maintaining the rule of law, including through the promotion and protection of human rights, constituted a key element of the work of MINUSTAH. Improvements were registered in a number of key oversight institutions, such as the General Inspectorate of the Haitian National Police and the Office of the National Human Rights Ombudsperson, which was accredited in December 2013 as an A-level national human rights institution by the International Coordinating Committee on National Human Rights Institutions. I sincerely hope that the Office of the Ombudsperson will retain this status. MINUSTAH also supported civil society organizations to strengthen their ability to act as guardians of the respect of fundamental rights under Haitian law, as well as under regional and international human rights mechanisms. The mission also made efforts to advance crucial legislative reforms, such as the draft criminal code, the draft code of criminal procedure, and the draft penitentiary law, which are all awaiting adoption by the Parliament. With respect to the independence of the judiciary, which is a very important topic in Haiti, 3 laws adopted in 2007 have played a key role in the administration and regulation of the justice system, leading to the opening of the School of Magistrates and the first and still only juvenile tribunal outside of the capital in 2009. While the installation of the Superior Council of the Judiciary in 2012 was a welcome and positive development, the institution continues to suffer from a lack of independence, including over its budget and poor functioning, with very few judges having been disciplined or sanctioned to date when necessary, because of an ongoing dispute over what are the appropriate disciplinary measures. But there is no doubt progress in the justice and the human rights system, which continues to suffer from multiple deficiencies, including a lack of popular confidence, accountability, and limited institutional capacity, high rates of prolonged pretrial detention, and inhumane conditions of detention, lags behind progress registered in other areas of security and institutional stability. And it is political challenges which remain the primary impediment to consistent progress in the administration of justice and human rights, to truly anchor the rule of law and render police work more effective, while creating conditions conducive for foreign and domestic investment and much-needed job creation. I would like to talk about some of the lessons which can be learned from these 13 years and the mixed results. What was essential to attain the progress achieved was first to tackle the key drivers of instability in Haiti, which are primarily, as you all know, social, political, and economic, and are manifest in fluctuating levels of crime, armed gang violence, and recurring, sometimes violent street protests, as we have seen this week, triggered by unresolved social, political, and economic grievances. The limited capacity of the government to respond effectively, a political culture characterized by the absence of a tradition of consensus building and non-violent conflict resolution, and insufficient socioeconomic alternatives to crime and violence have, of course, favored this climate of instability. In this context, the deterrence presence of the mission's uniformed components helped to create the political space necessary for the implementation of the mission's mandate, while the good offices functions of my predecessors and my own were critical to encourage constructive dialogue among the national actors to reach some minimum consensus on a way forward, including on the completion of the last electoral cycle, which had been stalled for years and which was marred by many complications that reflect the culture of mistrust and the weak capacity to forge consensus. The good office's function will remain critical for some time to come. Secondly, MINUSTAH had an adequate mix of uniformed and civilian resources to address the many challenges, in particular during the early years, in an integrated manner that combined political and military policing instruments in the departments and at the national level. Third, the Stabilization Mandate, which progressively shifted the emphasis from operational interventions to the creation of political and institutional stability, was key to help laying the foundations for the strengthening of key state institutions such as the Haitian National Police, the judiciary, and the oversight bodies to promote and consolidate the rule of law and ensure the protection of human rights. Fourth, I would say the ability to advance the mandate implementation through the QUIPS and CVR projects proved critical for the political work of the mission and its efforts at strengthening key institutions. Following MINUSTAH's military support to deter violence perpetrated by armed gangs, the Community Violence Reduction Program, CVR, initiated in 2009, targeted slums in the urban areas in and outside of Port-au-Prince, in areas that were historically politicized or under the influence of armed gangs. The program reached more than 6 million beneficiaries, of whom 3.8 million are women, addressing high youth employment, poor infrastructure, fragile security institutions, and limited access to justice, to build the social foundations for peace and to counter the gang dynamics and criminality. The CVR program serves as a model for other peace operations. The Quick Impact Project programs, QUIPS, implemented some 1,788 projects over the past 13 years, focused primarily on the rule of law, good governance, public infrastructure, income-generating activities, environmental protection, and the provision of potable water to prevent waterborne diseases, including cholera. And these projects benefited directly about 7 million people. Fifth, MINUSTAH was able to adjust its mandate implementation to the changing circumstances and carefully planned the progressive transfer of tasks and responsibilities to the Haitian authorities, albeit with disruption due to the devastating earthquake of 2010. In 2013, a 3-year consolidation plan was adopted, which was followed by the implementation of a joint UN country team MINUSTAH transition plan, both designed to pave the way for the eventual withdrawal of peacekeeping from Haiti. Last but not least, MINUSTAH and Haiti benefited from massive support from a relatively unified international community, including the solidarity of the region, countries of Latin America, CARICOM, Canada, and the United States, which solidarity continues to pursue the same objectives, namely to support Haiti in her quest for greater stability and prosperity for her people. Driven by the motivation to ensure the sustainability of that progress achieved during the past 13 years and to prevent a reversal of the stabilization gains, taking into account some of the lessons learned from the work of MINUSTAH, the Security Council has mandated, as you know, the closure of MINUSTAH by October the 15th and the establishment of a smaller peacekeeping operation, which from all indications will have a 2-year mandate. This new mission, MINUSTAH, with a far smaller staff and the limited mandate, will assist the government of Haiti in strengthening the rule of law, monitoring human rights, and developing the national police. It will have up to 7 police units, supporting the Haitian National Police, 295 individual police officers, to further the professionalization of the HNP. The transition from MINUSTAH to this new and smaller mission is guided by the joint transition plan that I mentioned, which underpins the gradual transfer of tasks to the government, to the international partners, and to the UN country team. With their help, national institutions, including the HNP, will be able to demonstrate their capacity to consolidate the gains of stabilization and democratization achieved with the assistance of the international community under MINUSTAH. The continued good office's role of the United Nations to support Haitian political actors across the political spectrum to further consolidate progress towards political stability will remain essential. The political challenges that lie ahead for Haiti, particularly with regard to steps toward constitutional and institutional reform, will require sustained and constructive inter-Haitian dialogue and a minimum national consensus. Ultimately, the success will reside in the hands and in the minds of the Haitians. Learning from the past, MINUSTAH's rule of law engagement, the rule of law engagement of MINUSTAH will be political in nature to help forge a common vision for all branches of power on rule of law and justice reforms, and hopefully can build on a renewed engagement of the executive and the legislative alike to devise a comprehensive reform package that can finally tackle long-standing hurdles to stability and development. President Moïse's campaign pledge to launch a broad-based national dialogue is encouraging, and that dialogue process would require comprehensive action, obviously, by all actors, including state institutions, political parties, the private sector, and civil society, to establish a forward-looking agenda able to deliver tangible results. Also encouraging are the calls from a broad cross-section of Haitian society for reforms to simplify the electoral cycle, establish a permanent electoral council, and strengthen legal oversight bodies, among other things, with a view to stabilizing the country's economy, its democratic institutions, and reforming its governance. I am convinced that Haiti can make full use of the current window of opportunity to continue the institution-building efforts of the past 13 years by engaging in a transparent and inclusive process to constitute the Permanent Electoral Council, pending since 1987, and the Constitutional Council established in 2012 through the amendments of the Constitution. But, as I said, ultimately, the success will lie in the hands and in the minds of the Haitian authorities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Acting Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary and former Haiti Special Coordinator, State Department, Kenneth Merten, and he currently has responsibility for Haiti, Canada, Caribbean Affairs, and the Office of Policy Planning and Coordination in WHA. Ambassador Merten most recently was U.S. Ambassador to the Republic of Croatia from 2012 to 2015, and the United States Ambassador to Haiti from 2009 to 2012. He was awarded the 2011 Ryan C. Crocker Award for his extraordinary leadership in the wake of the 2010 Haiti earthquake. Ambassador Merten.
Great. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank the Center for Strategic and International Studies for hosting today's timely event. A special thank you to Michael Matera and to Mark Schneider for hosting us here today as well. Before I begin on today's discussion topic, I just want to share a few comments regarding Hurricane Irma and its devastating impact on parts of the Caribbean region and our efforts to date with our regional and international partners. On the heels of Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Irma, the strongest Atlantic hurricane on record, left a path of destruction in many parts of the Caribbean as well as the southeastern part of the U.S. The loss of life and damage Irma has caused is heartbreaking to all of us who have the honor of knowing this region well. The last update I received indicates that our efforts so far have led to the evacuation of more than 2,300 people from St. Martin and the British Virgin Islands, including more than 300 people evacuated by Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines and 2,000 by U.S.-provided air evacuations. We're extremely grateful to colleagues at the Department of Defense, as well as the Dutch, French, and UK authorities and the Caribbean governments for their cooperation and assistance. There's a lot left to be done to determine the extent of the damage, support those seeking shelter, and provide emergency relief commodities. Moving forward, under Caribbean 2020, our focus will shift from rescue and humanitarian relief to recovery, including robust humanitarian support and disaster responsiveness as paramount issues. I'll now turn to our topic for the discussion today. This is a terrific opportunity to discuss a key moment for Haiti, the transition from the UN Stabilization Mission in Haiti to MINUSTAH. I will outline what I think are kind of the positive things. I tend to be a glass half full sort of person. I think we all are very familiar with the shortcomings of events in Haiti and the challenges Haiti faces, but I think we also need to take occasionally time to celebrate and appreciate what has gone well. So I'd like to say up front that MINUSTAH has done what it was established to do, to create a measure of stability in Haiti. It's been a difficult 10 plus years, but the Brazilians, Chileans, Canadians, and many others who have participated in the mission can leave, I believe, with their heads held high, knowing theirs was a job well done. I would also like to acknowledge Ambassador Valdés, who was there in the very difficult first months and years of MINUSTAH after the departure of President Aristide. Without his excellent work, Haiti would not have been able to move forward from those dark days of 2004 and 2005. When discussing MINUSTAH, I would be remiss in not mentioning the fact that not everything has been perfect. There have been challenges for sure, but I'm confident the UN institutions and member states have learned from them and are working to ensure those challenges won't be repeated. Mistakes and challenges won't be repeated. And finally, I want to recognize all those members of the MINUSTAH mission who were there at the time of the 2010 earthquake, in particular SRSG Adi and Nabi, many of whom lost their lives, still the largest loss of life in a UN mission ever. They performed incredibly to provide security after the earthquake, perhaps, I think, in what was MINUSTAH's finest hour. As a long-standing partner of Haiti, the U.S. remains committed to ensuring the country's long-term security, democratic development, and economic growth. At this crucial time in Haiti, the U.S. government recognizes the importance of continued support to find viable solutions to chronic challenges that threaten peace, stability, and growth. On April 13th, the UN Security Council adopted Resolution 2350, which mandated the closure of MINUSTAH and the withdrawal of all UN military personnel by October 15th. The resolution also established MINUSTAH, a police-only successor mission with a smaller staff, which will focus on developing the Haitian National Police, or HNP, and strengthening the rule of law, promoting human rights. MINUSTAH will begin operations, as we've heard, beginning on October 16th. The U.S. believes the transition from MINUSTAH to its more focused successor mission, MINUSTAH, can serve as a model for how peacekeeping missions should adapt as a country's political situation evolves and needs change. As part of the transition, MINUSTAH withdrew its entire military component before September 1st and will continue to reduce its police personnel by half. There remain significant challenges in the area of rule of law, no doubt about that. U.S. security and rule of law assistance in Haiti is grounded in supporting the Haitian National Police to achieve its development goals, to improve the force's capacity and grow its ranks to better serve and protect the Haitian people. As MINUSTAH transitions, there is more expectation and need for the HNP to assume greater responsibility of the security environment in Haiti. The U.S. has supported the HNP for over 20 years and will remain focused on supporting that institution. Having demonstrated its ability to maintain stability and guard against security threats, including by providing security in the 2015-2016 electoral cycle, the HNP has emerged as one of the most trusted governmental institutions in Haiti. Beyond these administrative successes, the HNP has also demonstrated operational progress in crowd control and dismantling kidnapping networks. U.S. assistance has supported the graduation of 9,418 cadets from the HNP school since 2005. We are especially proud that new cadet classes include more and more women, making the HNP a more effective and more representative police force for all Haitians. By the end of 2017, the HNP will have over 15,000 officers, achieving the goal outlined in its 2012-2016 development plan and allowing it to assume greater responsibility for security ahead of the military drawdown of MINUSTAH. We will continue our engagement with the Haitian government and continue to focus our support on strengthening the police. As MINUSTAH transitions to MINUSTAH, the U.S. government will continue support to build a stable and economically viable Haiti, with assistance focused on long-term development. In partnership with the government of Haiti, we have already seen improvement in several areas. Throughout this important transition and beyond, the United States remains committed to working with the government of Haiti and the rest of the international community to ensure a more secure, stable, and self-sufficient Haiti. To conclude, I've spent much of my 30-year diplomatic career working either in or on Haiti. Been doing that since 1987. And I've always generally been optimistic about Haiti. I've seen Haitians overcome incredible challenges well beyond the earthquake. The U.S. has stood with Haiti as a partner as Haiti created a civilian police force. A police force which I think we should acknowledge, which is probably the best police force Haiti has had in over 200 years of independence. This is the moment for the government of Haiti, the HNP, and the people of Haiti to rise to the challenge and show they are ready to provide for their own citizens' security and law enforcement. I understand there are risks, but I believe Haiti can and will succeed. The United States will continue to work in partnership with Haiti to do our best to make sure that happens. And one last thing, I think it's important to acknowledge that one of the key factors that brings about the challenges that Mark so aptly mentioned in his opening remarks is the lack of economic opportunity in Haiti. One of the reasons Haiti faces the challenges of public health and education and elsewhere is simply the lack of economic opportunity, the lack of a growing economy. We've been working with Haiti for many years, since I had the pleasure of working for Ambassador Carney, who's here today, promoting a more open, a more business-friendly, a more entrepreneurship-friendly environment in Haiti. We have seen precious few steps taken in that direction. We've seen some, but we need to see a lot more. I think if the Haitians can address that challenge and work harder to create a more open environment to domestic and foreign investment, that will go a long way to providing a platform which the Haitians themselves will increasingly be able to take over responsibility for their own citizen security, for their own people's well-being, and that is a call that I would reiterate once again here today. Anyway, thank you again to Mark and CSIS for hosting us here at this event, and to my fellow panelists for your contributions. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ken. Our final speaker is Ambassador Juan Gabriel Valdés, Chile's ambassador to the United States and Chile's former foreign minister. He also has served as Chile's ambassador to Spain, to Argentina, and with respect to Haiti, was Chile's permanent representative to the United Nations and the UN Secretary General's Special Representative to Haiti and Chief of MINUSTAH from July 2004 to July 2006, as Ken has mentioned, essentially managing its creation and its support for the reestablishment of democracy in that country. Ambassador Valdés's full bio is also attached, and has his PhD in political science from Princeton and his master's in Latin American studies at the University of Essex, and his publications and teachings at Princeton, Notre Dame, and CIDE in Mexico attest. He's a highly regarded analyst of international relations and democracy across the region, and a good friend. Ambassador Valdés.
Thank you very much, first of all, to CSIS, Mike Matera and Mark. Thank you very much for inviting me. It is really a pleasure to be here and an honor to be with Sandra Honoré and with Ambassador Ken Merten, two persons that have shown an enormous commitment to Haiti's development and democracy. I thank Ambassador Merten for his references to my work in Haiti, but especially for his memory of Eddie Anabi, a friend of all of us who, as you know, was the SRSG during the earthquake, and he lost his life there. We are this morning here the first and the last SRSGs of MINUSTAH, and the country has enormously changed since I arrived in 2004. MINUSTAH, in the moment in which MINUSTAH is leaving its task to the new UN mission, MINUJUST, shows a country that is completely different to the one or very much different to the one I knew during my years there, when the mission was installed. And we had to face a country in the verge of civil war, political violation of human rights, revenges of all sorts, and generalized violence. With all the enormous difficulties we all know during these 13 years, the Haitian political process, including elections and political institutions, seem to have been strengthened. We have impressive results in matters of security, a police force bordering the 15,000 necessary number, a legitimate president who goes around the country trying to engage the population in local and regional development programs, a government program, a feuille de route, tackling the areas of security, justice, energy, education, health, and agriculture, and based on decentralization as a means of confronting the basic needs of the population. I believe that MINUSTAH has played a role in these changes, and it is just to recognize that role. But at the same time, as Sandra Honoré indicated, the political stability problem continues to be the main issue. Of course, Haiti has many very serious problems, and all of us who love that country and know that country can recognize them as soon as we get there. But it is clear that the main problem is the political problem. That means, as it has already been said by my predecessors in these panels, whose words I completely agree with, is a lack of consensus culture that creates an enormous difficulty to reach political agreements. Therefore, given that situation, I have to say, and I know I'm bringing here a more polemical approach to the situation, that I wonder if the issues of rule of law, legitimacy, corruption, and security have been decisively affected during the last 15 years. At the same time, I have the perception that the relationship between the country and the international community has changed. Unfortunately, not in Haiti's material dependency on assistance and aid, but in the attitude of elites towards what the reports of the Secretary General call good offices and promotion at the political level of the full application of the mandates of the missions, coming both from the UN authorities and the representatives of the international communities. We have seen in recent times situations which are quite different to the relative complicity that existed at the beginning of this history of international involvement in Haiti. The government elites have gained self-confidence, which is, of course, in many senses, a very good thing. But when the proposal is to reorganize an army, then without any substance in terms of financial capacity, then the question becomes a very difficult matter for those who have been involved sustaining the development of Haiti. Or when this independence is seen as a way of protecting abuse of power, lack of respect to the rule of law, or simple corruption. It is clear that MINUSTAH has developed a very positive relationship with most of the governments that have been during this period. But it is also clear that during these years, there was among the Haitian population a sense that international presence was equal to foreign occupation, and that there was an important segment of the population that wanted MINUSTAH to end. Of course, I'm not as close to events in Haiti as I used to be, and probably I'm in less contact than the friends who are accompanying me in this table. But as I follow events through newspapers every morning and the radio, I have questions that I would like to pose here because they refer to very recent events that show that Haiti continues to be, in political terms, extremely fragile. The rule of law. In recent days, there have been serious demonstrations in Port-au-Prince and in other cities in the country. Violence has erupted, and we have seen discourses which clearly show populist, subversive sort of requests or demands. There have been even congressmen that have called for the insurrection against the government. And people have tried to use the natural rage of common people about their dire conditions of existence in order to spread chaos. The case or the reason for this has been the budget and the measures of economic adjustment that the budget introduces. But the problem is that most of the establishment is accusing the government of introducing in the budget taxes that have never been approved by Parliament. Therefore, they declare, and I'm talking about figures that represent the political establishment, the political parties. Some of them have been previously prime ministers like Evans Paul. They say the budget is illegitimate. and therefore it is illegal because there has been the introduction of these taxes and tariffs. This shows that the debate on the question of public policies and political decisions at the government level is always entangled and faces the obstacles of denunciations against the rule of law and the legitimacy of these decisions. The question of corruption. In a speech 2 days ago, the President declared that Haiti had 3 or 4 problems, and the problems were corruption, 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 and corruption. And this is enormously positive. In that sense, that the President declares that is, of course, a very important factor or event. The fact is that 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before, the President removed a minister accused of a corruption case involving education materials and the suspicion, that these materials have been overpriced. Yet the political reaction from the political establishment in the opposition is to say he should have fired 4 ministers, not 1, because the other ministers must have known what was going on in the level of the Minister of Social Development, who was the one replaced or separated from the cabinet. What happens is that the feeling, and being a Latin American as I am, I know this very well, the feeling of impunity destroys confidence and the possibility of bringing consensus to political decisions. And the feeling of impunity is enormously expanded in Haiti. Most times, and I'm sure those in this table will agree with me, most times these accusations are based on rumors and have no base. But sometimes they do have base. And the attitude has, unfortunately, many times been, we are not going to revise or confront these situations. The question of security, the third problem I can see, is that even if we have a much better police, and a police which is much more trusted by the population than it was before, a police that has been trained, very well trained, by people who know how to train the police. This police is based on a judiciary system which is enormously weak. And therefore you face situations like the one the day before yesterday, in which Moïse Jean-Charles, a populist leader who led the demonstrations in the streets, the police attempted to arrest him. He resisted arrest, but there was no judiciary base for his arrest. There was a decision from the palace, apparently. Of course, this creates a difficulty. How are you going to face problems of security if you don't have the judges acting behind the police and sustaining the police? Even more complex is if the rumor in town is that the Minister of Justice has created a group of armed civilians to sustain him. I'm bringing these issues not because I want to over-dramatize the situation, but because I believe that what we had to face in 2004, which from my point of view was, we cannot repress the brutality of the gangs and the rest of the criminal activities in Port-au-Prince if we don't have a legitimate government. Because we had an appointed government at the moment, and we needed to have elections in order to have a president that would manage that situation with legitimacy from the point of view of the Haitian people. Not simply because of the international legitimacy we had given to us by the Security Council. The elections were organized, as you know. It was extremely difficult to organize them in the middle of this violent moment. But the fact is that when Preval came to power, he could address the issue of the gangs in a different way than my good friend La Tortue could do. Therefore, the question of legitimacy is basic. And I think that all of us, the United States, Canada, the Latin American countries, and the United Nations, of course, we have made an enormous effort to sustain the legitimacy of governments that have been elected. We have tried to surpass the debates in Haiti on the legitimacy of the elections. And we have tried, even sometimes against our will, to sustain processes that were decided by Haitians to repeat elections, etc. But in order to sustain this legitimacy, which Haitians really want, most Haitians want to have a legitimate government and want to have a stable government, that's evident. And in order to discourage these attempts not to criticize issues or policies, but to criticize the legitimacy of the system, which is so typical of the debates in Haiti, I believe that governments should be very much aware that if they don't face the question of corruption and if they don't face the question of impunity, they will always come back to the issue of legitimacy, and they will always be in a situation of fragility. Sandra was mentioning the participation of Latin Americans, and I want to finish with a very Chilean note on this. Haiti has become such an important country to us, not simply because of our participation in MINUSTAH, but because as a result of our participation in MINUSTAH, we will have something around 100,000 Haitian immigrants to Chile at the end of this year, which is a complete change in our cultural world. Chile is a country that was not used to Caribbean immigration. What is happening, therefore, is that we are much more concerned today on what is going on in Haiti in direct terms than what we were when we were simply involved in a United Nations operation, which was extremely important to us, but had a distance with what our own people felt and experienced. This is why I believe that this discussion on the internal stability of the country is very critical for Latin Americans, and I believe that MINUSTAH has to get all the support we can, but I believe, and please allow me not to say this in very personal terms, I'm convinced that the commitment of Latin Americans to Haiti has to continue, and that the way in which we involve ourselves with the situation in Haiti has to be supported both by the US, which is a country that has such an important relationship with Haiti, and Canada also, but also by the OAS and by the United Nations. This is a point I think has to be underlined, because we can make an important contribution if we incorporate Haiti to our own debates and to our own discussions on democracy and on stability in the region. I believe that is critical for a country that has felt isolated from the rest of the world for so much time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we've had three excellent presentations. I'm going to ask one or two questions and then open it up. All of the speakers have focused on the fractures within Haitian society and the failure of the country, with everyone's outside's help, to develop a different culture that, in a sense, privileges consensus, compromise, and finding mutual solutions as opposed to winner take all. And that has undermined almost every effort to achieve what Juan Gabriel just described as to achieve governments that are considered legitimate and governments that deal with the issues that the people feel are most crucial to them. So my first question to all of you is, what more can be done to help Haitians, to help build that different culture of, let's call it reconciliation and compromise?
I'll just take a stab at it. I think, speaking personally here, not necessarily as a U.S. government representative, I think one of the challenges that Haiti has, if you'll excuse me from saying this, psychologically, is that every time they find themselves in an impasse, neighbors, for better or worse, are always there to help fix the situation. And we often help Haiti avoid what we fear is going to be the worst in terms of political uprisings and so forth. But I think it creates, in a certain respect, a level of dependency on external intervention in Haitian affairs, which allows the local political actors not to have to take responsibility for their actions, not to take responsibility or blame, if you will, for not finding a compromise, not taking the responsibility for making things happen, not taking responsibility for passing legislation that will enable better things to happen. And I think we as the international community, and again, I'm not going to apologize for our roles. I think we do this with the very best of intentions, and we work hard to work with Haitians and help them get to these better outcomes. But we need to, amongst ourselves, figure a way to allow the Haitians to really take responsibility for their actions and pay the price, their elected officials to pay the price in front of their populace at the ballot box for poor performance.
Thank you very much. I agree with you. More and more, the Haitian authorities, the Haitian people have to assume the responsibility for establishing mechanisms for reconciliation, mechanisms for compromise. The attempts may not necessarily bear fruit initially, but I think it is very important that the civil society be encouraged to keep stressing and emphasizing and demanding of the government, of the political class, that such compromise positions are adopted. We heard Ambassador Valdés referring to the recent demonstrations over the 2017-2018 budget. And he also acknowledged that sometimes rumor in Haiti tends to play a much wider role than it should. And in respect of the debate over the budget provisions, unfortunately, some of it was based on misinterpretation and rumor, some of it. Now, did the government adopt the proper, in inverted commas, posture of doing pre-budget consultations in a broad-based manner? Had the government done that, perhaps it could have avoided some of the reactions that one saw to the budget as it was adopted by the Parliament. But I think the lessons have to be learned by the authorities, and we just have, as international community, we just have to keep encouraging the authorities to really take charge and to do so in a comprehensive manner to establish the kind of communication mechanisms that would serve the purpose in Haiti and that would also serve to provide the people with as much information as they can possibly give to avoid negative consequences, as we saw, for instance, in these demonstrations. And one other word on the demonstrations, I think part of that was, of course, political actors using a political fact, the adoption of the 2017-2018 budget, to score political points, but those may not necessarily have been only vis-à-vis the government, because, of course, you have two political elements which declared that they were going to start these demonstrations, and that was the result that we saw last week. Thank you.
I fully agree with what has just been said. I believe that it is for Haitians to assume the responsibility, and the end of MINUSTAH is also a declaration of this. It's a practical declaration of this conviction. But at the same time, if one reflects further around this issue, let us assume that, or let us suppose that very unfortunately, the situation deteriorates up to the point in which we were in 2004. Let us assume that. Could we imagine the UN sending again MINUSTAH with the type of mandate of Resolution 1542, as if nothing had happened during the last 15 years? There is no alternative to this issue, except those alternatives that some people mention, and I have to recognize that this exists in Haiti, coming from Haitians, in which they talk about a certain tutelle as a tragedy that could come back to the country sometime if this continues. Therefore, I believe that there is no other alternative than to give and to allow the Haitians to solve their problems and take their own responsibilities, as Ken said. Having said that, I insist on my point. Haiti does not participate in any of the coordinating institutions we have created in Latin America. With the exception of one of them, which includes the one, ¿cómo? Sí. La CELAC, with the exception of CELAC, which, to be frank, is a broad meeting in which practically nothing is decided, all the other instances of participation with the Latin Americans do not include Haiti, or Haiti doesn't participate in them. I remember once there was a demand coming from the Haitian government to participate in the Ibero-Americans meetings. Of course, the Spaniards reacted saying that Haiti was not Ibero, but Iberian. But the fact is that in these meetings, in which there are concrete discussions on projects on education and development, it would have been extremely useful for Haiti to become, at least, if not a member, have its presence there. I believe that this is important because even if the relationship between the US and the countries where the diaspora lives is enormously important, you have now diaspora in Brazil and in Chile. And this means a lot to Latin America. Therefore, apart from the relationship that Haiti has with the US, Canada, and other countries in the Caribbean, of course, CARICOM, etc., I believe that we should open the doors to Haiti to become member and to be subjected to the type of demands that we make to ourselves in issues like democracy, the rule of law, and stability and order.
Thank you. I'm going to ask one more question and then open it up. And that goes back to the question that I put in my opening statement, which is, to some degree, how can MINUSTAH fulfill its obligation with respect respect to the rule of law, strengthening justice and stability in Haiti, and how can we continue to support the international community, the strengthening of the HNP with this new effort to create an army where the funds for that clearly don't exist, and where the danger of having a second military force that challenges the rule of law responsibilities of the police inevitably exists. And the clearest example of that is this last week with the creation, or the apparent creation, of something called the Brigade de Renseignement et d'Investigation de l'Ouest, with fatigued and armed forces that the Delegate de l'Ouest apparently has authorized, and I saw photos from What's Up yesterday, which clearly presents a threat to rule of law in Haiti. How do you see going forward the establishment of a new second military force, in contradiction to the clear efforts, which I think everybody agrees with, of strengthening HNP as the responsible entity for the rule of law and civilian protection in Haiti?
Well, a couple of comments. Thank you very much. Let me say, first of all, that there have been some voices that have been heard in Haiti in support of the remobilization of the Haitian armed forces, and using as their argument the fact that MINUSTAH military is leaving, will no longer be there, and that the military force is in the DNA of a country that won its independence on the basis of the work of an indigenous army. Therefore, we need to reestablish, we need to remobilize the armed forces. I just want to say that the departure of MINUSTAH military should not be linked with the reestablishment of the Haitian army. This is a topic that has predated the current times, and we know exactly over the years between 2006, when I think President Préval established a commission of notables to discuss the question of what do we do with respect to the army, that this has been on the Haitian agenda. What we have consistently stressed is that the Haitian government and authorities, Haitian society, the international community, have invested, certainly, as Ambassador Merten has said, very heavily in the development of a professional, independent Haitian National Police, which we have been consistently encouraging the government. The police must remain apolitical. It is not a tool to be used at the will and fancy of this administration or that. And the debate on the army obviously would have to be a more wide-ranging debate, taking into account the opinions of the society, because the opinions within Haiti on the remobilization of the armed forces are divided. The resources and the facilities required for the Haitian National Police should not be compromised by any project or experiment that the government may be considering in other ways. How does MINUSTAH, therefore, beginning its work now, support the continued development of the rule of law, the continued professionalization of the Haitian National Police with this 2-year framework that is being contemplated? Clearly, the Haitian authorities will have to use the opportunity. I think it is vital that the Haitian authorities use the opportunity that is being provided by MINUSTAH to make the kinds of changes that are so very vital in the rule of law sector, which the Haitians themselves, the Haitian civil society itself, the Haitian population itself is demanding. And people, as Ambassador Merten said, people have to hold the government's responsible, and the government has to do what is required to provide that kind of strengthening of the rule of law in the interest of the people. Thank you.
Just a few observations. I think I stated pretty clearly our commitment has been, is, and will remain to continue to support and work with the Haitian police. We've been asked by the Haitian government many, many years ago to help them create and equip and train a civilian police force. I think we've been good to our promise. We intend to continue down that path. A couple of factual observations to add to that. I think in the Haitian government's mind, at least, the Haitian army already exists. It's not a question of recreating it. They believe they have a kernel of people, 150 or so people who are already part of this Ministry of Defense. These folks have been to Ecuador. They have received training in engineering works, and the Haitian government believes they need to create a body which can respond to, as you mentioned in your introduction, natural disasters such as hurricanes or earthquakes. I don't think it is the United States' position to comment on Haiti, how Haiti chooses to organize itself. What we do and can have effect on is how our money is spent, how we direct our resources, and our resources are going to remain directed towards supporting the police and supporting the justice, implementation of justice, as Ambassador Valdés correctly pointed out. I would also note that I think that we need to be cognizant of the fact that Haiti, as several folks have pointed out, simply doesn't have the money to augment its military force right now. And I think that is going to be the natural limiting factor to, any short-term moves in that direction. But I think if we, particularly speaking for the United States as Americans, want to encourage a popular backlash or a popular movement in support of augmenting the Haitian military, I think perhaps the most effective way to do that would be for us to come out and say, no, Haiti doesn't need an army. And, I think for us to be clear on this subject and say, look, this is a subject that Haitian government, Haitian people need to figure out for themselves. I think that is the way we have approached it.
What can I say? I fully support what has just been said.
Let me open it up to the audience. Yes? We have a microphone there. Wait till you, please just identify yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
Hi, Aditi Gurur with the Stimson Center. Thank you to all the speakers for a really interesting panel. This is a time when there's a lot of pressure from the US government to reduce the budgets of or close down UN peace operations around the world. And I wanted to ask you what lessons we can take from Haiti, which is a country where the international community has launched peace operations, left them, and had to return years later. What lessons can we learn from Haiti about what a sustainable withdrawal of a UN peace operation can look like?
Well, I think that as I have said on many occasions to my briefings on Capitol Hill and to other people, I think, our commitment to Haiti needs to be for the long term. I think for us to expect that Haiti will have been rebuilt into some kind of ideal society, ideal country, a mere 7 years, for example, after the earthquake, albeit with a lot of U.S. government money spent there, is not realistic. There are many countries, including our own, who have suffered from natural disasters or other disasters who take in many cases decades to really fully recover and rebuild. So I don't think it's fair to hold the Haitians, which is a very poor society, to a standard that we wouldn't hold ourselves to. Having said that, I think, again, we our commitment, as you've seen, going forward for the next year anyway, yeah, there are some areas where our budget is reduced a bit on Haiti, but we still remain engaged. We still are going to remain engaged with the police, equipping and training and supporting the police. We're going to remain engaged in public health and across a whole range of activities, agriculture in Haiti. So I think, again, in a nutshell, slow and steady will win the race. I think a precipitous drop or cut to Haiti could be potentially problematic. I don't think that's where we're going, at least in the medium term here. So I can't predict the future several years out. But while there's been something of a decline, it's certainly, I wouldn't call it a precipitous drop.
Yeah, thank you so much, Robert Panzer from the Inter-American Development Bank. My question is, how sensitive or how fragile you assess the situation in the next 12 months? I mean, we're always talking about how fragile it is, but is it like more fragile than usual, or is it like less fragile? Is it like a good moment or opportunity, or a window opportunity to get things done in the next 12 months, or you see it as difficult as it is usually in Haiti? Thank you.
I'm going to add a little footnote to that question, which is, with respect to your answer, how do you consider the decision to extend or not extend temporary protective status for the 50,000 Haitians who are currently in the United States?
Well, as I said, and as you said, and as I think we all have said, fragilities in Haiti remain, and the Haitian authorities have to be held to account by the Haitian people to correct those fragilities. With respect to where Haiti is at the present time, the Security Council decision that was taken with respect to the closure of MINUSTAH, I think, is the most telling signal and symbol of the fact that Haiti has made a considerable amount of progress over the past 13 years with this presence of MINUSTAH and the work of MINUSTAH, and that this is an opportunity for the Haitians to seize to move forward with her economic development, to solidify the gains that have been made in stability, precisely so that the kind of economic development that will be the creator of jobs that will keep young Haitians from leaving en masse to go to Chile and Brazil. These are the kinds of things that have to be done. President Moïse has, following his election and his entry into office, has been making some of the right sounds concerning these things. He has some projects and some programs. He says, as Ambassador Valdés mentioned, he is stressing anti-corruption measures. It is, of course, a task that has to be engaged in by all, and he has to open up the space, as it were, the political space, to build the kind of consensus with his political opponents and with those who support him in order to ensure that these fragilities don't crack open even further. The Haitian National Police has attained a significant degree of professionalization. That has to continue, and the support of the international community, the partners, the US and Canada with respect to the police, the United Nations, that has to continue to prevent what you're alluding to. I think Many people in the Haitian society are convinced also that this is an opportunity to be seized, because the world is not waiting for Haiti. The world is very busy with a number of other challenges and problems. And I think Haiti understands that, but would need our support and our encouragement to solidify what has been achieved in the past 13 years.
My favorite subject, TPS. Look, I don't know what decision is going to be made by the Department of Homeland Security regarding the extension or not of temporary protected status for Haitians. I would note that there are a number of decisions for countries in the hemisphere, several decisions for countries whose nationals are much more numerous than the 58,000 Haitians that would be affected by who are beneficiaries of temporary protected status. You know, Haiti has been accepting people back who have emigrated, in most cases illegally, to other countries for many years now. It obviously is not necessarily something that you know, helps the situation economically in Haiti, but I think for better or worse, people who have returned, either you know, boat people or people who have been sent back, who have been caught, for example, being in the United States illegally, they have been able to reintegrate in a certain way. You know, we are in consultations with the Haitian government, urging them to take whatever measures they possibly can to prepare for these folks at some point to return, because the first word in TPS is temporary, and when Secretary Kelly, who's currently Chief of Staff at the White House, was Secretary Kelly, he reminded the Haitians and has reminded others that the nature of temporary protected status is that it is, by its very nature, temporary. So at some point, that status will come to an end, whether it's going to be at the end of this year or next year or who knows when, it will at some point. So I think I understand that it presents potential challenges for Haiti, but I think Haitians are in general very resilient people, and they will figure out how to overcome and deal with that.
Good morning. My name is Matt Tappel with the National Democratic Institute. I noticed a theme in the panel's comments of the importance of political stability to advance Haiti, and also take note of Ambassador Merten's and other comments about the need for Haitians to assume responsibility for improving their country. Just to follow up on the question on the next 12 months, I'm interested if there are any concerns about the upcoming or potential delay in Senate elections in Haiti. As you've referenced, the last election cycle was quite exhausting over 3 or 4 years, and failed elections have been a kind of a flashpoint for gridlock and instability. And I understand that there's disagreements on when this next election would take place and how long senators should be in office, and if that would leave the legislative branch again debilitated and maybe affect the president's ability to advance legislation. But wanted to get your sense of how you would assess that issue.
Just to say that a bit of information, the political class certainly is very concerned about what happens next with respect to what would be the natural Haitian electoral cycle. President Moïse had started a number of consultations with political parties, including on that question, and yesterday he did invite political parties to a wide-ranging discussion on a number of issues, including the law on political parties and the support that is normally given to political parties through the budget. And the question of the coming electoral cycle and mandates of senators elected was a part of those discussions. Of course, not all of the opposition parties who were invited attended. Some did. And I think that it would be important for the President to continue that outreach and to try to come to some kind of consensus with the political parties, and also, of course, it is important with the elected officials in the Parliament, who will also have their say on how to go forward. But he has already made the first steps, and I would hope that dissatisfaction and continuing debate over the 2017-2018 budget notwithstanding, that he will be able to find the skill necessary to balance that discussion with the political class. Thank you.
I mean, we always are obviously support, you know, the countries bringing about support of their constitution. Constitution Haiti will call for these elections upcoming. It's something we support. I would certainly flag that one of the things that got Haiti into the difficulties of the 2015 through 2016 electoral cycle was the fact that senatorial elections and parliamentary elections did not happen on time earlier in the decade. And I think Haiti risks entering a negative political spiral if somehow those elections aren't held at or near the time as prescribed by the Constitution. I think I'll just leave it there.
The only thing that I would like to add is, and this is more a question than a statement, the importance of the Electoral Council and establishing a permanent Electoral Council becomes crucial for what is coming. And I understand there are good prospects in that sense. But the moment in which the real proposals coming from the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary are put on the table is the moment in which these kind of initiatives fail. Therefore, my question is, what can we expect this time on this?
Well, certainly the Parliament is already discussing its nominees. The Conseil supérieur du pouvoir judiciaire has made a call for interested persons to submit their candidatures. The executive is also working on theirs, but the political parties have said, you need to consult with us, that the three powers need to consult with the political parties. And I believe that there is a trend in that direction, and I think that that will, in fact, be very positive if it does take place. It should take place because, as the Haitians will tell you, every time that we've had a prolonged crisis, it is born out of an electoral process. And I don't think that there is much animus on the ground anymore for another crisis based on an electoral prospects or on what happens with respect to the composition of the Permanent Electoral Council. The country needs a Permanent Electoral Council. The Constitution has called for this since 1987. And I think people understand what has to be done, but of course, the dialogue necessary and the compromise necessary to come to agreement on who these persons are will be very, very, very important. Thanks.
There's questions in the back.
Hello, Sophie Burrell. I'm an MA candidate at the Elliott School in International Affairs, and I want to thank you all for coming and speaking on such pressing issues on Haiti while there are so many other topics we could be discussing. As a Haitian American, a topic that has been prevalent in our community has been the fact that President Moïse mentioned the possibility of taxing the Haitian diaspora to increase the government's funds. And my question for you is, do you believe that is a feasible way of increasing Haiti's funds, especially given the fact that international development aid is not looking too promising for Haiti's future right now?
Whoever.
It'd be useful if folks would direct the question if there's a particular person you want to answer. You know, I think one could debate that particular route of raising revenue, whether or not that's successful or not. I think it is safe to say that Haiti finds itself, the Haitian government finds itself in a pretty, an extremely desperate need of revenue for a variety of reasons. The past year of sort of quasi-constitutional rule didn't help in terms of oversight and monitoring government expenses. I think the prior year, in the run-up to presidential elections, didn't help either in terms of monitoring the transparent expenditure of government expenses. And so President Moïse and the government currently in place finds itself in a pretty desperate situation. So I understand their need to raise revenue. I could think of other ways that they may want to go about it, but in a country where you have so many people who are desperately poor, the ways to extract revenue from, you know, an economic pie that is only so big is limited. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but again, this goes back to the point of expanding the economy, expanding the economic opportunity. If Haiti's economy were growing at 6% a year, and it's not, but if it were growing at 6, 7, 8% a year, raising revenue wouldn't be such a problem. And the government's need for revenue wouldn't be such a problem because the revenue would be coming in. Unfortunately, I think Haiti's economy is set to decrease in size slightly this year, if the last thing I saw is correct. So that's a huge problem for them. And I'm not going to, you know, debate on whether, you know, finding a way to implement these kind of taxes on the diaspora is good or not. I can certainly see why people object to that. I totally get that. But I think the real answer needs to be Haiti needs to find a way to grow its economy.
Yes, how do you do? My name is Michel Monen. I was actually born and raised in Haiti. I'm an agronomist. So I have two questions. The first one is, MINUSTAH is leaving, and how is the UN going to deal with the cholera crisis there, since they're leaving? And the second question is, you've been speaking a lot about international aid. Isn't there a more sustainable way of helping Haiti? Because I was there on the ground and I'm used that, for example, you will give them the tools and they will go and try and grow their crops, but we do not educate them on how to grow a crop and how they can be connected to the market, what will really make a change. Thank you.
Why don't we take the last question here in the front row, and the panelists can respond to both or either one.
My question I'll direct to Ambassador Honoré, and I just want to pull the thread a little bit more on. My name is Rebecca Bill Chavez. I'm a little bit more of I spent my time in DOD, so I'm probably a little bit more of a glass half empty person. But I want to pull the thread on the HNP question that Mark, that you asked. And since you're on the ground, I'm wondering about your sense of President Moise, his commitment to, because you made the point early on that the commitment of the government to building the national police was behind some of these improvements that we've seen. How committed do you think that President Moise is to building the Haitian National Police? And secondly, how serious do you think he is about the military? You also made the point, Ambassador Merten, that this is not a new thing. President Martelli commissioned the Inter-American Defense Board for a white paper about rebuilding the military. You mentioned the training in Ecuador. But I'm just very concerned that given the budgetary constraints facing Haiti, coupled with the goal of rebuilding the military, how realistic is it that this progress is going to continue, or even worse, do you anticipate that there could be even backsliding when it comes to the Haitian National Police? Because I would imagine that given the resource constraints and the potential for a battle or competing demands for resources between the military and the police could impact the ability of the Haitian National Police to continue to recruit the very best, and also the ability of the National Police to acquire the weapons that they need, because I know that the gangs often have much more sophisticated weaponry than the police do. And if some of this focus is going to the military, what are your thoughts?
Thank you. Let me just react in respect of the question that was posed from the back with respect to how the United Nations intends to continue to support the government of Haiti with her plan for the elimination of the transmission of cholera. Just to go back to the beginning and say that ever since the beginning of the outbreak in 2010, the United Nations system as a whole has been supporting the government of Haiti and the Ministry of Public Health and Population, the Water and Sewerage Authority, in her plans. And when I say UN system, I mean the World Health Organization, PAHO, UNICEF, the International Organization for Migration, in addition, of course, to some of the efforts of MINUSTAH, which have complemented, I mentioned the quick impact projects and access to potable water for certain communities that didn't have it, and so on. The Secretary General established a joint high-level commission with the government of Haiti in 2014, and that commission is still overseeing, as it were, the work that is being done in support of the government's efforts to eliminate cholera, even as we speak. So that has not stopped. What we have seen in the recent months, from the beginning of this year to July, the numbers of suspected cases of cholera have reduced significantly. There is a significant curve that has been made with respect to cholera in Haiti. Of course, the country is going to continue to need, and the Ministry of Health and Population will continue to need, the kind of resources that are necessary to provide for the programs. The UN also announced in December of last year its new approach to supporting Haiti on the cholera question in Haiti. The Secretary General appointed a special envoy in June who will be working on the question of not only mobilization of resources to put into effect this new approach, which has two tracks dealing with treatment, dealing with improvement of infrastructure for water and sanitation, but also supporting communities that have been most affected. So that work will continue on the part of the Special Envoy with respect to mobilization of resources, and also with respect to helping Haiti within the framework of the 2030 development goals. You asked about international aid. international aid also involves, and we have to remember and bear in mind, capacity building. And this is an integral part of the international aid that is provided to Haiti. The important thing, of course, as has been said in other respects here this morning, it's a question of empowering Haiti and Haitians to do for themselves and to build for themselves what any society would expect of its authorities and its government. On the Army, I think Ambassador Merten was very insightful when he seemed to intimate that resource considerations will obviously be an important factor in how we see this development. The Ministry of Defense instituted a recruitment campaign recently. They said that they were going to be very modest about it. They're thinking about this armed force of some 3,000, and the idea was to recruit 500 in the first instance. The budget of the Ministry of Defense in this 2017-2018 fiscal year does not seem to indicate that what has been allocated to it will provide for any robust move on the remobilization. We will have to see. I think the resource question is going to be very critical. As to whether or not the president is committed to it, he made it a campaign promise, and we will see how things go, but bear in mind the resource questions. And of course, the debate. There is a debate that is ongoing in the society. Not everyone is on the same page on the question. Thanks.
I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank the panelists, and I think we will continue to be pursuing the question of how best to support Haiti and the effort to achieve justice, stability, and security. Thank you all.
Thank you.